Welcome everybody to the Fourth Wall Wrestling Podcast. I'm Will. I'm here with Brandon. Brandon, how are you doing on this fine Thursday?
I'm doing great, bro. I'm doing so good.
That's
Ready to get
good.
into AEW and all the news coming out of yesterday, which
All right,
is a
and there
lot
is
of
a lot of
hot stuff.
news. There is a lot of news coming out of AEW and Tony Khan's camp yesterday. We'll get into all that in just a moment, but before we get in, I'd like to thank the supporters over the last 2 days. You know, when we started, we didn't think we'd get as much of a following. Like, we don't have a huge following yet, but still, to the supporters, thank you for taking your time
Yes,
to
thank you.
listen to us.
Thank you.
We hope to continue to grow. And yeah, just thank you for taking your time to support us. Also, I'd
Special
like
thanks to all the people.
go
Special
ahead.
thanks to all the people who also dislike videos. We thank you too because you still took the time to take time out of your day, and regardless whether you like or dislike the video, we still get eyes on our platform. So yeah, thank you.
Right, thank you to everybody, no matter if you like it, dislike it. Your view counts, your like counts, your dislike counts, subscription counts. I'll get it right one day. Um, so yeah, we love all our viewers, and we look to grow with you in the future. And a special thank you to Jake, aka Daily Accolade on Instagram. His link will be in the description for the new layout. We'll be using this for
Yes, bro.
all the shows. He's a very good editor. He's very good with keeping on top of news. He knows his stuff about wrestling. Go follow him at Daily Accolade. It'll be in the description for you to follow. Probably most of you follow him anyways because he's so big on Instagram. But thank you
Yeah,
to
he has
him.
a very big following.
Right. Thank you to him. We appreciate the layout. And before we get into it, please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, like all the videos, comment, answer the question at the end of the video, and continue to support. Road to 100 begins here, I guess. Can I say that?
Yes, bro. Yes.
Um,
Yes,
road
yes,
to
yes, yes.
Road to 100 begins.
Well, you know what? Actually, let's take baby steps. Let's get road to 50, then
Yeah.
road, then
All
road to
right. Road to
100.
50. Let's go. Share with your friends. Yeah, just help us grow and support, and we thank all of you, like I said before. But Brandon, getting into the AEW Dynamite review,
Oh yeah.
there was a lot of news coming out of yesterday, specifically regarding
Holy
two different names, CM
big
Punk
names.
and Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
Early in the day, when I woke up, I was met with some news about CM Punk possibly talking about an in-ring return with AEW and Tony Khan. You know, before we get into the details and what we think is going to happen, Brandon, what do you think a CM Punk return would do for the professional wrestling industry?
A CM Punk return, I feel like would bring back a lot of old fans that that are fans of him that used to watch wrestling that no longer watch wrestling anymore. I think they would be intrigued to not only see what CM Punk does in AEW, but see how AEW is because AEW gets their name out a lot, by letting their stars do a lot of things, being on social media, and just a whole bunch of stuff. And not only would CM Punk, grow the AEW following, but I feel like it would also be a wake up call to WWE. I hope, at least. CM Punk coming back to AEW will make WWE want to have good shows. Make Raw better. Finally push stars to be big. Be like on the level, but not be like a next Roman Reigns, not like a next John Cena, not like a next CM Punk. Just be their own self, and just become as big as them, and just finally let them showcase what they can do. I feel like CM Punk coming back would just also make coming stars want to go to AEW, and just get the experience and be led by CM Punk and also Daniel Bryan, as we mentioned. Because they're both like how do I say this? They're both leaders. They're just both leaders. You know what I mean? And so them coming to AEW, I feel like it's huge, and they're needle movers, and they would be able to compete, with Raw per se. But in the end, it's not a war. It's just about both companies being able to thrive and be great.
Right, and I 100% agree with you. I think CM Punk, he has that it factor. When CM Punk's on TV, a lot of people want to watch. He brings the lapsed fan back. You know, a lapsed fan is somebody who hasn't watched in a while because the product was bad. CM Punk is one of those guys that, like a few years ago, he was the best thing on TV. So he can bring that
No
lapsed fan
question.
back. So if AEW can bring CM Punk in, and I believe they will, uh,
Yeah.
he, like you said, he is a big needle mover, and I think the ratings start to change. But Brandon, with All Out in Chicago coming up on, I believe it's September 5th. I might be wrong with my date there. But with All
Let me
Out
check.
coming in Chicago, how do you see them bringing Punk in and introducing him to the company rather, and how would you like to see it done?
I think because there's a lot of ways they could go with it. They could have Tony Khan come out and make an announcement and just say how, because with September, we're really starting to come out in the closing of the year, and I think Tony Khan. I think a one good way if Tony Khan came out, and we're just saying the rest of this year and going on into all 2022, it's going to be an amazing year for AEW, and you're gonna have a lot of unexpected returns. And then I feel like he should be like, let's not wait till January. Let's start it right now. You know, lights go out, and then you just hear Cult of Personality start go off, and then the crowd pops. That's one way you could do it. Second way you can do it, you can have the Casino Battle Royal. If you want to start CM Punk just back in the ring like that, he could be the last person to come in. Cult Personality, big pop, comes in and wins whatever. But I think it's better if he just makes an appearance, really, because if you want CM Punk to be in ring, that's something you need to build up to.
I agree, and I'm kind of gravitating towards the first way with an announcement, or not an announcement, but like just CM Punk being introduced to the company in more of a segment than a match. Um, Chicago's his hometown. I don't think it'll take much for you to get the crowd to really pop and be into it because people are going to be expecting Punk anyway. So try to do it in a big way without going overboard. Don't be underwhelming. Don't be overwhelming. Introduce him to the company in a way that you can build on. Because you're obviously going to follow up, but you need to be able to build on his debut.
Oh yeah,
So if you're able to build on his debut, follow up each week, get him into compelling storylines, I think CM Punk's introduction to the company will be a lot easier than it seems because CM Punk is a very complex superstar. There's a lot of
but when it's all said and done, it's going to be AEW's biggest
yes.
debut / wrestling return ever.
This will be AEW's biggest signing, no doubt about it. But I'm very excited. I expect to see him at All Out in Chicago.
Yeah,
I know people who are going to be there, and they're expecting it as well. CM Punk is huge in Chicago. Um,
oh yeah,
Wrestling fans or not, everybody knows who CM Punk is, and I think when you talk about needle movers, CM Punk is the needle mover of needle movers. Him and Daniel Bryan are the two guys I think that can flip their ratings around. It'll
for
take a
sure.
bit of time to get people back into it, but once they're back on TV, I think AEW will benefit greatly from it, and I'm very excited. But
I'm so excited.
the second piece of news, and depending on who you are and how you look at it, maybe the bigger piece of news, Body Slam Net reported that Daniel Bryan has signed a contract with All Elite Wrestling. Brandon, how do you feel about this?
When I first heard about this news, I was skeptical because when I had never heard of BodySlam.net, so I didn't know if it was like some random person trying to get a reaction out of a lot of people. So I was like, this probably isn't true, but I mean, it's definitely a possibility. But then I started to see people who I watch in the community retweet, and I was like, okay, now wait, maybe maybe this is true. And then obviously later, about a few minutes before the show, Dynamite, Fightful confirms it, and I'm like, oh shit, like this is actually happening. And it didn't just say it was a possibility. The report said it was 100% locked in and that he's with AEW.
Right, and like you said, early in the day, well, not early in the day, but like early when the reports came out, I was very skeptical. I saw BodySlam.net report it. I saw a lot of these guys who can't really judge their credibility. I saw a lot of them report it.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, when Fightful Select reported it, and the bigger guys and the credible sources and guys I know that wouldn't report fake news, when they reported it, that's when I knew it was serious, like you said. Look, Daniel Bryan is a guy who's going to do what he wants. We know that. He's got a family,
Yeah.
a wife,
Yeah.
2 children. He's been injured before. He's older.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a spring chicken.
Mm-mm.
So he's going to do what he wants.
For sure.
And all these people criticizing his decision to go to AEW have to be the biggest breed of idiots I've ever seen in my entire existence on planet Earth. Look, you have a guy who's won world championships all around the globe, right? You have
Yeah.
a guy who's been creatively booked correctly in WWE, and a guy who wants somehow to still be able to control his character the way he wants. He wants the proper storyline. He wants to be able to build the future, which, let's face it, in WWE, that probably will not happen. Which brings up another issue we'll get to in a minute. But Daniel Bryan is going to do what he wants, and Tony Khan is going to provide him with what he wants. I guarantee you the conversation between these two guys is very simple. They sit down, Daniel Bryan tells him what he wants. Tony Khan's like, all right, what else? Tony Khan's a guy that will, for the right price, will get anybody he wants.
TK, yeah, TK he's OG, bro.
You can call Tony Khan a mark. You can call him a geek. You can call him whatever you want. But the man does business the right way. And what pisses me off the most about this all but confirmed signing is the fact that people praise this man, Daniel Bryan. They loved Daniel Bryan while he was in WWE. But the very second he steps foot in an AEW ring, the WWE marks out there are going to turn against him, and they're going
these people, I don't know, bro. They make WWE seem like God, and they are the top wrestling promotion, on paper when you look at it that way. But like in-ring creative wise, AEW they're number one. They're just doing better. They're producing better shows.
Right, and there's no denying it.
No denying it, bro. Main roster at least. NXT is fine, even though NXT is, that's a different subject. But anyway,
we talked about that yesterday. Go watch the podcast.
We talked about that yesterday. Go watch the podcast. But TK, these people, just complaining it. It's just they just refuse to branch out to something new. It's okay to be a WWE fan, but don't. And then my thing is, you shit on AEW. First of all, you don't even watch anything of their product. If you would actually watch it, this is crazy. Yesterday, I was going through my TikTok feed, and I saw this guy. He got a clip of a video from Kenny Omega and the Elite, from Being the Elite, right? Where it was Matt Hardy sitting down with Kenny Omega, and they were all laughing, right, and saying how, and Matt Hardy was like, "Oh yeah, Kenny, and you're better than Seth Rollins," and they all started laughing.
Yeah.
So the guy
goes, BTE this week, 2 days ago. It's out.
Yeah, and this guy goes, "See, this is the problem I have with AEW and Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega is one of the top 5 wrestlers in the world. But when you have to shit on other people and talking about how good you are, it's sad. Always throwing shots at WWE on your television series." I'm like, first of all, dumbass, this is from their YouTube channel, not the television program. Second of all, he's a slimy heel who boosts up his ego. What do you expect him to say? It's his character. He's acting. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
He's supposed to do that. And how dumb do you sound? Roman Reigns does it every week on Friday. You don't say anything. Because it's his character.
Right. And
people, it's just the matter of fact that people get mad at people for doing what's best for them. And right now, I mean, AEW is what's best for Bryan.
Right.
Bryan, he he's been great. He's a great wrestler. But AEW, even though this is a good thing, there's also a negative side to it because we know that Daniel Bryan eventually, I guess you could say, in the next few years, his wrestling career is going to be done. So he wants to end it out on a bang. He want to end it out on a bang and have fire matches, 5-star matches. AEW is where you go.
Right.
And then Bryan, you know his deal. You know he's not just going to be in AEW. He's going to go to New Japan. He's going to go to ROH. You know,
We might see him
really,
pop
Daniel
up in
Bryan put
Impact.
might pop up in Impact. Daniel Bryan really put ROH on the map.
Yeah.
He was one of the guys to do it.
Well, to all the
And
marks out there who are gonna
yeah,
try to, uh, you know, almost put down Daniel Bryan for making the best decision for him, put yourself in his shoes. You're an aging guy. You're not a spring chicken. You have a family. You need your needs taken care of. Vince isn't going to do that. You want to work in other promotions. Vince surely isn't going to let you do that. And Tony Khan will? What are you going to do? These people live and die by WWE. They worship. I guarantee you, if Vince McMahon told them to kill their family members, they'd do it. It's mind-bogglingly stupid how some of these marks act. So,
and I'm going to say this.
Go ahead.
There's nothing being wrong with being a mark. Everybody who's a wrestling fan is a mark.
Right.
Let's make that clear. Yeah, I'm a mark for AEW. Okay, I'm not gonna say I'm a mark for WWE. I mean, I like WWE. I love WWE. It's
right.
just that their current product just sucks.
And we're not.
I love NXT.
And we're not trying to put down WWE because we hate it. We want them to get better.
Yeah. I think for a couple people that watch the podcast, I think that's why they, dislike some of the things that we say. Because I think they think we're coming from a standpoint where we just hate WWE and we're all about AEW beating WWE and everything and want AEW to be, the new number one. And that's not it. The whole thing is we want WWE and AEW to be great, equal. Both can thrive. Both can do their own thing.
Right.
But like I was saying, there's good marks and then there's just idiotic marks who just say the craziest stuff. You can't get mad at somebody for going. You can't get mad at the company for going out and getting the best talent that there is. You can't get mad at them for, oh, well, AEW is only good because they're signing ex-WWE talent. What? Where else are they gonna go? When you leave the number one, When you leave the number one promotion, right? What makes you think you want to jump down to number 4? How dumb does that sound? You want to jump to number 2.
Exactly. And help Tony them Khan, become number 1.
Exactly. Tony Khan wants what's best for he wants to pull out fire matches, bro. And Malachi Black, Aleister Black, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, those guys, plus the roster that they already have, they can give that to you. Darby Allin, People always talking about how, AEW has ex-WWE talent.
Right.
Half of WWE's roster came from the indies.
Exactly.
And none of these people are really technically WWE homegrown. The only people homegrown on WWE you can say is Charlotte, Roman. I really can't think of any other names.
Seth. Well, no, Seth.
No, Seth
was born in the Indies.
Tyler Black. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Seth was out there, bro.
There's a line between being a mark and being an idiot. And the people that are going to disparage Daniel Bryan for making the best decision for him, those are idiots.
I'm going to use this analogy. Let's say you know somebody, right? And they work at McDonald's. And McDonald's fires them, and Chick-fil-A reaches out to them and says, hey, come work for us. We give you better pay. And, we'll give you a better experience and, teach you how to work. Are you going to get mad at that person saying, oh, you're a traitor. How would you betray McDonald's like that? What? How does that make any sense?
Exactly.
You lose a job, regardless, when you make a name for yourself, it's all about providing really for yourself and for your family. And who
Right.
knows, maybe Tony Khan is really maybe he offered Bryan better pay than Vince was.
Yeah. And you know, before we get into the review, I just want to say that when Daniel Bryan shows up on the Grand Slam edition of AEW Dynamite, the wrestling
Which that's
world.
what the rumors are saying.
Yeah, I'm not just saying that. That's what um, the rumors I've been hearing are saying, that he's going to show up on the Grand Slam edition of Dynamite. But when that happens, the wrestling world is going to blow up, because I assume I assume that the ratings are going to jump. The tide in the wrestling world is slowly going to turn, and one day you'll be looking at a situation where AEW is A, getting better ratings, B, producing vastly different and better shows, and you know, Tony Khan will one day be on top of the wrestling world. But here's my thing. You can't kill the machine. The WWE is the machine of the wrestling world, right? So
Yeah,
they're not in any financial trouble at all. Vince could lose his TV deals today and be on 2 different channels by tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Vince could go bankrupt almost today, produce SmackDown tomorrow, and be perfectly fine. You cannot kill the machine when it comes to the wrestling world. But the trouble WWE does have is a ratings problem, and a roster problem, and an interaction problem. The ratings are going to go down. The roster isn't going to want to re-sign their contracts when their contract runs out. If AEW is open to signing some of these people, the wrestling world will change. And the interaction problem stems from WWE not treating their fans correctly. So, although you can't kill the machine in a sense that WWE isn't going to go away, which it shouldn't, we don't want them to go away, we want them to thrive. You can turn the tide in AEW's favor with these types of signings.
No question.
Do you agree?
Oh yeah, no question.
But my last point before we get into the AEW Dynamite Fyter Fest Night 2 review, Brandon, I want to get your thoughts on this. There's fans, we kind of already touched on it, but there's fans around the world who have their loyalties to WWE. There's fans around the world who have their loyalties to AEW because WWE's product is trash nowadays, aside from a few things. What do you think will have to happen for these types of fans who have their allegiances with only one company to band together and just enjoy wrestling as a whole?
Honestly, there's always going to be haters at AEW.
Right.
And
because
really,
it's new and better.
Yeah, there's always going to be haters. There's always going to be haters. There's people who are always going to, just ride, just be a rider after WWE. And I feel like the only way, which isn't going to happen, the only possible way for WWE fans, WWE marks to respect AEW is really only a partnership between WWE and AEW, which we're never going to get. That's the only way. If people won't take the time out of their day to go watch AEW, and let's say if WWE and AEW ever, did an AEW versus WWE thing, obviously WWE fans would eventually see the stars and the potential of AEW. But other than that, there's really nothing you can do. There's just always going to be diehard AEW haters. I just want to kill AEW.
Yeah, and I want to see both companies succeed. I want to see every single wrestling promotion out there succeed. But fans have to make a choice. You can either make it a war between these two companies and only draw the line between these companies, or you can band it together and you can make the wrestling world 10 times stronger. So, fans got to make that choice. We've made our choice. We want to band the wrestling world together. Now it's time for everybody to make their choice. And so, in my eyes, you should support everybody. I'm not going to tell you what to think, but it just, when it comes to this idea that there's supposed to be a war, it's mind-boggling. But fans will be fans, marks will be marks, idiots will be idiots. What are you going to do about it? And AEW has, in fact, just tweeted out wishing Thunder Rosa a happy birthday. But later today, AEW General Manager Tony Khan is going to announce something regarding Thunder Rosa. Brandon, when you hear about this, what do you think this announcement regarding Thunder Rosa will be?
Honestly, I'm not sure, bro.
In my eyes, I think that they're going to say that they have gotten Thunder Rosa out of her NWA contract and that she's now an official AEW roster member because she doesn't have a signed AEW contract yet.
Yeah. And while we're on this topic of women, report got released today that somebody from Impact by the name of Kiera Hogan is no longer going to be working for Impact and is going to be looking for a new company to go to. So, Will, I have a question for you. Where do you think Kiera Hogan ends up? With this Sasha Banks heat that she had, a few months ago, where she had beef with Sasha Banks. Do you think because of the heat, WWE has nothing to do with her, or they want her even more because she kind of has, her name's kind of been involved with one of their biggest stars? How do you look at it? Do you think, and then after that, do you think she goes to AEW, or does she start, NXT and go to WWE? What do you think?
Well, I'll say this. I don't think the heat is necessarily there anymore between Sasha and Kiera. I think it's more between the fans.
Yeah.
This is a classic case of the Sasha stans on Twitter being so diehard to their Lord and Savior that you can't stand seeing anybody else even mention her name. So I don't think the heat was necessarily between Kiera and Sasha. Although, I don't necessarily see her in WWE. I've actually been thinking about this ever since the report came out. I really don't see her in WWE.
Yeah.
She's a good wrestler. She can talk, but I really don't see her fitting in Triple H and Vince McMahon's mold. I see her more in AEW. She can be a building block of a women's division, I believe. You think about what Thunder Rosa did coming over, putting on good matches, putting on good stories. I feel like Kiera Hogan can do the same. And if they're able to get her in a contract, I think at All Out in Chicago, I feel like Kiera Hogan will be a good challenger for Britt Baker.
Yeah, man. I mean, Kiera Hogan's great. I mean, she's a great wrestler. I mean, you don't have nothing against her. I do think the Sasha stuff is stupid.
Yeah.
For coming out and saying that stuff, really without any receipts. But she's a great wrestler, and wherever she ends up, she's gonna do great. I personally feel like NXT shows their women off more than AEW and kind of better. But I feel like personally, I think she'd do great in NXT. I don't know what she would do.
Yeah, that's why I can't really see her there.
Yeah, I mean, in NXT they could give her her own cool little gimmick. I mean, low key, if you want to, since there are NXT women tag team titles now, I wouldn't be opposed to her. Well, we haven't even seen anything what B Fab can do yet.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be opposed to her joining Hit Row and becoming a tag team with B Fab. I think that'd be great.
That'd be an interesting concept.
Because she definitely fits, the Hit Row vibe. Because, I've watched a couple of her things from Impact. When AEW and Impact first started a little partnership, I watched like the first 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I saw her on there. And she did really good. She can talk. it seems like she's a perfect fit for it. But even that, then she can do her own thing if she wants to. But where she goes, she's gonna be fine.
Yeah, she has a bright future. Now that you bring it up, that'd be an interesting concept. But wherever she goes, like you said, she'll succeed. But
Yeah.
before we get into the AW review, we'll be talking about Fight for the Fallen next week from Charlotte, the town we live in, the city we live in. It's not just a town, it's a city. We will be in attendance of that show. So expect a vlog, basically a day in a life, I guess you could say,
Oh yeah.
of the entire day from, the moment we wake up to the moment we lay our heads on our pillows next Wednesday. I see that'll take a lot of editing on my part, so I don't know when it'll come out. So I don't know if
Yeah.
I think
mean,
we
it
can.
definitely. I mean, realistically, it'd be great if we could get the AEW review because we're gonna review it the next day.
Yeah.
It'd be great if we get them both up on the same day.
Yeah, that
But
would be an interesting prospect, but I don't know,
yeah,
depending on editing. But expect an AEW review the Thursday. I don't know when you'll expect the vlog, but at the end of the video we'll do our Fight for the Fallen predictions. But we just wanted to let you guys know we will be going to that show next week, so we're very excited. This is our
let's
first
hope let's hope
AEW
let's
show.
hope let's hope you let's hope you run into some stars and if we do, we can get them on camera. We can tell them to say what's up to the fourth wall wrestling fam. That'd be pretty
Yeah, that'd be
interesting.
cool.
That'd be
But
really cool.
we're very excited. We're gonna do our best to provide good content. This is our first vlog, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, there's a lot to look forward on this show. I'm really excited for the 5-on-5, Jericho and Nick Gage. So yeah, we're gonna get into the AEW review now. So we opened the show with Chris Jericho taking on Shawn Spears. This was the first of 5 labors of Jericho, set by MJF.
Which I'm loving.
I really like this whole
Because
concept.
it's bringing Chris Jericho's his alter ego down. I'm loving it.
Yeah. So the caveat in this match was that Shawn Spears could use chairs, since he's the chairman, but Chris Jericho couldn't. Now, this was a decent opener. I'm not gonna say it was good, really good. I should say it was good, but it wasn't really good. And
Yeah.
I liked the psychology in this match. However, I don't know. I didn't really like the ending. How did you feel about this whole thing?
I feel like if you're gonna give it, the the rule where Chris Jericho can't you can't use a chair.
Yeah.
And then you just have him use it anyway. What's the point?
Yeah, I didn't really like that. But the match was good itself. Sammy Guevara got involved. All of that. All of the dynamic.
I feel like the best fun part of this match was the crowd because this crowd was really hot and really into it and was having a lot of fun.
Yeah, the crowd.
So
the Texas crowd was hot to open the show. I noticed that. But I think the highlight of this opener was what happened after the match with MJF. MJF was great on commentary, by the way. I don't know how you felt about MJF on commentary, but I really liked it.
MJF is great at everything he does.
Right. MJF could sell me a broken down car, and I'd buy it. So then we had MJF coming out onto the ramp that he was on the commentary table, so he just came over. And he announced that Chris Jericho will face Nick Gage in a no DQ match on the Fight for the Fallen edition of Dynamite. I'm very excited for this because, like I've said, will be there in person. So I've never seen Nick Gage live. I've seen his matches on YouTube, but this dude's a monster. He came out with a pizza cutter. This dude's ready to tear into Jericho. Brendan, how do you feel about Nick Gage?
So I'm actually, while we're talking about this, I actually, I recorded AEW and I'm actually rewatching it right now, and I'm at the Nick Gage part. So I noticed he came out looking like a freaking rabid dog.
Yeah.
He looks like he was being held inside a cage right before he was able to come out on the stage, and yeah. Chris Jericho next week. It's gonna be something to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Jericho. He's gonna get bodied.
It's gonna be a bloodbath.
Yeah, it's gonna be very bloody.
A war, a massacre, I guess you could call it. But I'm very excited for this match. These guys are great. I want to see Nick Gage on Being the Elite though. I feel
That'd be very interesting.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be a pretty interesting prospect. But anyway, back to the segment at hand. MJF talked about this guy robbing a bank with no mask on. Like, this dude's an animal. I'm very excited to see Chris Jericho versus Nick Gage. And, Brandon, I kind of feel like this should kick off the show. Do you feel the same way, or do you feel like they should save it for the middle of the end?
Since this is like a series, I feel like it makes sense for all of Chris Jericho's series of matches for all of them to kick off the show.
Right.
Because if you're gonna start it off like that and just have them look forward to next week, just might as well go ahead and start off every week with Chris Jericho match.
Right. But this one's gonna be a war. I'm very excited. I'm interested to see how the crowd reacts to Nick Gage. He got a big pop, but when he does some of the stuff he does, I kind of want to see how the crowd reacts. I don't know how they're gonna react. I know how I'll react if something crazy happens, but this is quite exciting for AEW to be able to bring in Nick Gage, because he's feuding with Matt Cardona in an indie promotion. I'm not sure which one. Don't crucify me in the comments for not knowing my indie promotions. I know my indie wrestling. But up next we had Miro. He cut a pre-recorded promo backstage. He talked about the legacy of the TNT Championship, about how he beat Darby Allin, and how he's not gonna lose the title anytime soon. Which I hope.
That title looks great, by the way.
That title is pretty good looking. I know some people don't really like it.
The only thing I don't like about it is the green. The green kind of throws it off, but it still looks
good. The green kind of matches Miro's graphics though, so I'm not gonna completely, crap all over it. But Miro will be defending the TNT Championship at Dynamite Homecoming from the Daily's Place in 2 weeks. Brandon, who do you think he should face, and how have you felt about Miro's reign as TNT champion so far?
I'm loving this Miro reign. It's giving me shades of when his U.S. title reign in WWE, because that was obviously the best thing we saw Rusev when he was in WWE, Miro when he was in WWE. I'm just loving this reign, and depending on who he faces in the next 2 weeks, whatever it is, it's gonna be something to watch. He's being built like a monster, an unbeatable, force, and I'm really loving it for him. His future, I think it'd be cool if they eventually bring up his wife, CJ Perry,
I disagree, but
to manage him.
We know how I feel about Lana. We don't need to go into that.
Yeah, Will does not like Lana. But I don't like Lana either. But Will has a hatred for her. But we
won't go into that today.
But if he's doing fine on his own, really. So he really does it. He really doesn't need her.
Yeah.
But if they wanted to, that would just add to it, to the greatness that he's doing right now in the AEW as the TNT champion.
Right. I'd like him to face a guy that they want to push, because a match with a guy like Miro, a good showing, can get a lot of people behind you, because Miro is the big monster heel.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at a Miro versus Jungle Boy.
I don't know. Have they done that?
Have they?
I feel like they had. Maybe it was Darby versus Jungle Boy. I don't know. They defend the TNT title so much that I can't.
Yeah, they
I don't
do.
remember all the title defenses, which is a good thing.
I want to say he did. Yeah, it's something I have to look back into. I'm not sure.
But I wouldn't mind Marco Stunt.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
One of the private party members.
Hmm.
Maybe a returning Kip Sabian.
That'd be nice to see.
If
That
they
makes a
don't
lot
want
of
to do
sense
that at a
too.
pay-per-view, a returning Kip Sabian could pop up. I don't know when his timetable for return is because we know he's been injured, but guys like those I feel like could provide a good match and kind of get them over. But
For
Miro
sure.
will defend the TNT title in 2 weeks from the Daily's Place, which I don't like them being in the Daily's Place just because they just left the Daily's Place.
I tell you what the fuck I'm looking forward to for that show. It's been my favorite thing on AEW ever since it started. But
What?
we'll get into it later.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Up next, we had Frankie Kazarian, who goes by the Elite Hunter now. Before we get into what he did here, what do you think of the whole Elite Hunter gimmick with Frankie Kazarian, Brandon?
I think it's really cool. I personally like with AEW. I've always watched the show, but recently I've just started getting into it. So a lot of the stuff I'm seeing is fairly new to me. But like this whole Hunter thing, I think it's really cool and fun to watch. I'm ready to get more into it. I really can't give like my full thing on it because last night was kind of like my first thing seeing anything like with. So like in the coming weeks, I'm really interested to see what they do with the guy. But it was really cool from what I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, definitely, but I'm interested to see where they go with it. Because does it lead to a title match? Does it lead to, anything with Kenny? I don't know. But Frankie Kazarian's a very good wrestler. I love Frankie Kazarian on being the Elite. He could possibly challenge for the AEW Championship one day. I don't know. But he took on Doc Gallows here on Dynamite. It was a short match.
It was
Uh,
very short.
it could have been a little longer, but that's what happens when you stack shows. A lot of matches that you think is going to be a little longer get cut short on time. But the outcome here was very surprising to me. Gallows won, but before I ask you how you feel about it, I'm going to note that Carl Anderson, did get involved in the match multiple times. So
Yeah, he
Kazarian
did.
didn't lose clean, but the
No.
outcome is still very surprising. How did you feel about the outcome of this match, and do you think it kind of dampens the whole Elite Hunter gimmick?
If anything, I feel like this kind of puts the guy more over. What's his name again?
Frankie Kazarian.
Yeah, Keith Kazarian. Um, from what I know, is the crowd. He's really over.
Yeah.
He's really over. The crowd was really wanting him to win, and I feel like Carl Anderson getting involved, it just shows it makes more sense for his gimmick. Being the elite hunter and just wanting to destroy the elite. I think it. Yeah, it just adds on more to the gimmick and gives him even more reasons, to make this gimmick great.
Right. And Frankie Kazarian is a big veteran in the industry. He hasn't been outside of SCU. He hasn't really been used all that much in AEW. So now that the fans who don't really know who he is, like Brandon doesn't really know who Frankie Kazarian is, but
Hmm.
it's putting a spotlight on him for people to learn who he is and be invested in him. And like when I first started watching AEW, I don't really know who he was. I heard his name before, but now that spotlight is being put on him, and he's very good. But after the match,
We had a little attack on him.
yeah. After the match, Don Callis and Kenny Omega came out to address Frankie Kazarian, stating that he's not the hunter anymore. In fact, he's the hunted. So, a nice play on words there. They we're gonna take him out, but Hangman Page came out and the Dark Order
Cowboy
followed,
shit.
and they made the save. So next week we're gonna have a big
I'm really,
5-on-5 elimination
really
match.
hyped for this match.
So am I. So many of my favorites are in this. I love the Dark Order. I love Hangman Page. I love Kenny the Bucks, the Good Brothers. So this is gonna be really fun. But I like the whole dynamic here because it makes Kenny's gimmick, it makes him seem like more of a slimy heel than every time he does this. But I wish there was a little bit more variety sometimes to what Kenny does. I don't know if you feel that way, but I wish there was little bit of more variety in the segments he takes part in. Do you feel that way, or are you content with what he does already?
I like it. I get what you're saying. It's kind of like every time we see him, it's really the same thing
Yeah.
every time he gets involved in the segment. But yeah, I mean, what he's doing is great though.
Yeah.
Kenny Omega, he's the second best thing in wrestling, with Roman being the first.
Right.
So Kenny, yeah, he's really good. I mean, there's really nothing to not like about Kenny, and then his look, it
Yeah.
just makes him even more. It just fits his character.
Well, now I'll get your
Having
thoughts.
Doc and Anderson with him.
Yeah. Now I'll get your thoughts on Hangman Page here because I know you're a big fan of Hangman Page, but
Sheesh, bro.
with this 5-on-5 coming up, we'll get into our real prediction at the end of the show, but do you think they're going to draw out the storyline with Hangman, or do you think now is the time to put the title on Hangman and, crown him the top guy in AEW?
Yeah, I've been seeing, a lot of people being mixed about saying they want him to take the title at All Out, or not even not lose it All Out, and then just get another chance, and then have his win, be at Full Gear. But I think, this is a really good question. I think I'd like to see Hangman. I think I'd like to see him win it now because I feel like he's so over, and
Yeah.
from when the first time I ever saw anything about AEW is when they were having those those little press conferences in like Vegas and everything.
Yeah.
And Hangman was one of the first guys I saw. I was
Yeah.
like, oh man, this guy looks like he could be a face of a company. And so yeah, I personally think it's Hangman's time.
Yeah, I tend to agree there. I feel like there's so much stuff. I feel like there's so many things Kenny could do, but Hangman, I think you need to just crown him. But I don't know. They may put it off. They may do it now. But we'll get into the prediction for next week later without spoiling anything now. Next, we had Brian Cage, who was interviewed.
Holy crap! I love this. I love this.
Regarding the new TNT champion, Ricky Starks, who announced that next week at Fight for the Fallen, he will be celebrating his FTW championship win. Now, I'm not going to say I know a lot about Ricky Starks. I don't. Until he came to AEW, I didn't really know who he was. But man, this guy is good.
Bro, this guy, Ricky Starks, looked like he got a time machine and came straight from the 90s.
Yeah.
Like one of a top star from the 90s. It almost feels like when you watch him, it's almost like he's not even supposed to be here right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He is a throwback.
I love him so much. He's becoming one of my favorites of AEW. My first time really seeing him, was like last week when he won the title, and he was really good, and he's really over with the crowd, and I can see why.
Right. So it's been announced that they're gonna celebrate the FTW championship win next week in Charlotte, and Brian Cage said he loves to celebrate. So we might see some interference with Brian Cage, and I'm all for it. Do you see another encounter between these two at All Out, Brendan?
I could. I feel like this is what it's leading to.
Definitely. Up next, we had Darby Allin taking on Wheeler Yuta. Darby had Sting in his corner, of course. Wheeler Yuta had Orange Cassidy. Darby won in a fun but short match. That's what we'll call it. But I think no matter what happened in the ring, the best part of this entire thing was the interaction between
Cassidy and
Sting
Sting.
and Orange Cassidy outside of the ring. That was brilliant. That was the best part of the entire show. I don't care what anybody says. That was brilliant.
Orange Cassidy, he's so different.
Yeah, there's something about
I've
him.
never seen anything like him before.
There's
Yeah,
something
and
about
like
him.
that interaction, I've seen him do it before, and then I think that whole thing with Sting doing it was really hilarious. It was
Yeah,
funny,
that made
and
me
I
laugh.
liked it.
But Allen won the match against Wheeler Utah. Darby's getting his wins back. I like to see it.
Really tipped up, obviously, from that hectic match that he had.
Yeah, with
That
Ethan
with Ethan,
Page.
bro, that match was freaking crazy.
Where do you see Darby going from here? Because there's a lot of directions they could go in, but what do you think would be the best one for him?
If they want to, they could try to go, the tag titles route. They could try to go ahead and start building him up for world title. Or you could try to give him back the TNT title. I feel like if you go the route with TNT title, I feel like low key he's going backwards, and I feel like it's time for Darby to do something new, whatever
Yeah,
that is.
get him into a new feud. Ooh, but we have some breaking news, I guess. Tony Khan has announced that Thunder Rosa is all elite, so they have officially signed her to a deal.
Oh, just now? They
Yeah,
just they're
just
just
now
breaking news
announced
just now.
that.
Oh wow, while we're recording, that's great. All right, Thunder Rose is all elite.
Yeah, I love it. Um, she's very good. Uh, she she had that match with Britt Baker, and that really that really showed me what she could do. Like I knew she was brilliant in the ring, but man, she is very, very, very good at what she does.
No question.
But up next, we had a promo package um, for Lance Archer and John Moxley in the main event. So just a standard promo package hyping up the match. I was excited for this match. So
Me too.
the promo package. I watched Road to Dynamite the day of the show, like right after we got done recording the NXT review,
Hmm.
and I wanted to see what they had to offer in this match. So
Yeah.
we'll get
Yesterday,
into
I
that.
actually I actually watched their match from Japan when they first did it, and it was really good. It was
Yeah,
really good.
from Wrestle Kingdom. I also went back and watched that and it was very good. But up next, the down of the show.
Our
Um,
girl.
yeah, and keep in mind, I'm a huge Britt Baker fan. I'm probably her number one fan. Um, I like Nyla
Yeah,
Rose as
Will's.
well.
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna say what I
And
said yesterday. That'd be controversial.
the thing is, this match was kind of slow. The crowd was into it, no doubt, but there were a lot of factors in this that really took away from the match. The botched 3 count, the fact that Nyla kicked out of 2 curb stomps, the botches in the match. Going into this, I knew that
Yeah.
Nyla Rose wasn't the best option for Britt Baker to face in her first title defense, but I don't know. I just didn't like this match. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah. I feel like the crowd was so into it is because it was a Brit match because
Yeah,
she's so over. Um, you could tell, and Will texted me this last night. You can see so much of Adam Cole and
yeah,
and Britt Baker. You can tell he's working with the like. Even watching her entrance, like just the smack she was talking into the camera, it's
yeah,
just like shades of Adam Cole. The way the way she moves, her body language is just you can tell them being together, it really helps out for her. Both of them too. I mean, I'm pretty sure they both coach each other on a lot of things, and I think it's really good for them.
yeah. Um, Cole is one of those guys that if you like take parts of Adam Cole and put it into your own game, you're gonna succeed. Adam Cole is probably one of the best wrestlers in the world. I'd say top 5. So
For
being
sure.
able to learn from him is big for Britt. So what? She had a bad match. It wasn't good, but she's got to put it behind her. I expect something better for All Out.
I'm
Brendan, who?
excited. I'm
Yeah,
excited because the number one contender is my girl, Ty Conti. She's the next contender for the championship. So
right.
I'm very anxious to see when they do that match.
They've
I w- I wouldn't be surprised if they. I really don't know when they do it.
They I'd assume before All Out, but not putting it into a feud. I would
I won't be
say,
surprised if I won't be surprised if they do it at Rampage because they're really building Britt up as like the face of the show.
yeah.
So they could do it at Rampage if they want to. But
But for All
yeah,
Out,
it's probably coming soon.
I don't. Now I'll say this: I don't know when Anna Jay returns. I don't know the timetable. I don't think it's before All Out, but Anna Jay maybe comes back. I don't know. But without knowing her timetable, I don't think it's fair to say that she will have a shot. But what's interesting is now that we have this news about Thunder Rosa being signed to an AEW contract, I could definitely see Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker again for the title. But Brandon, where do you think they go with the Women's World Championship feud for All Out?
So last time, last time Ty had a title opportunity, it was when Hikaru Shida was still champ, and it was on an episode of Dynamite. So I'm not gonna take her out of the question for if they want to do her all out because she's really over too.
Yeah.
But I feel like yeah, I really at all out it's either Ty or it's Thunder. I don't know who else you do.
I think Rosa's the right way to go. You need a big fight feel for the feud. You need something that's gonna gravitate to fans from multiple promotions. Rosa has that power. So I think that's the way they go. It'll be very interesting, but we'll see soon who they decide to go with for All Out. Um, but this match was not good. Britt Baker needs to
Mm-hmm.
bounce back in a big way. The clash of styles just made it very strange. It looked awkward at times in this match, but this was definitely the down point of the show. But Britt Baker
Yeah.
wins. She retains the title via lockjaw submission. Um, but Britt Baker's great.
One of my favorite parts of the show is up next.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited for this. FTR and Santana and Ortiz had a press conference. Um, they confirmed the match for Fight for the Fallen in Charlotte next week, which this might be the match I'm most excited for. I love both of these teams.
That match right there next week is a match of the year candidate.
Yeah, it's gonna be a barn burner. Definitely I see it being the best tag team match of the year. But the only thing I will say about this segment, this press conference segment, is it felt a bit rushed. They didn't have much time to speak, and they just kept
Mm-hmm.
speeding through their lines. But
Yeah.
you know, like I said before, when you stack a show like this, they're going to have to get to their lines quickly if this is a segment that you just kind of want to throw out there. We've seen their feud. We knew it was going to happen, but I'm very excited for this. And I see Santana and Ortiz being champs soon, so that may give away my prediction, but I think when AEW goes to Queens, New York, Bucks and Ortiz, Santana and Ortiz, you know, I could see them putting the straps on Santana and Ortiz. Um, we've seen what FTR can do in WWE, and that brings up my next point. These guys are so good at what they do. They can take a loss. Brandon, do you feel that way that they can take a loss and still be at the top of the tag team division.
For sure. Because during their run in NXT, they were like the best tag team in the world.
Right.
So, and they're still one of the best tag teams in the world. So I feel like, yeah, putting Santana and Ortiz over, I think that's the right way to go.
Definitely. I agree there. I'm very excited for that match. I feel like that could be the best match of the show, but we'll see. These two teams have potential to put on a match of the year. But up next we had Andrade El Idolo. He does not have Vicky Guerrero anymore. We've seen AEW commit to having Vicky with Nyla. So they announced that Chavo Guerrero is
This is great.
Andrade's new, what do they call it? Executive council, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Brandon, how do you feel about this Chavo Guerrero signing for AEW?
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a whole bunch of sense. You need somebody you need somebody of Latin background who can communicate with Andrade, who can also communicate with us, the fans, really well. And that's who Zelina Vega was in WWE, and that's who Chavo Guerrero is going to be in AEW. Also, Andrade came out looking really sharp, and I love the theme song. It's growing on me. It's a bop.
Yeah.
I like it.
At first, I didn't like it, but now it's kind of growing on me, and I definitely like the way he's being presented. But
yeah,
Chavo cut a good promo. Typical Chavo stuff. Yeah, he's gotten so much better on the mic from when he was active. The Death Triangle returned. They interrupted on.
Oh my gosh, I was so happy about this. I'm so happy to see Pac.
Yeah, I love
so
Pac.
happy to see Pac.
They interrupted Chavo. So Andrade, who had quite a bit of English lines here.
Yeah.
Would you say that less is more for Andrade?
Sure. Yeah, and I feel like last night it was probably one of the last times you're gonna hear from him in a while. Yeah, I think just introducing Chavo and just he had a big surprise. I mean, Andrade did good. I mean, he was easy to understand.
Yeah.
With the lines he gave. So yeah, I mean, it was pretty good.
I think less is more for him. But the lines he spoke last night didn't sound bad in my eyes. Andrade questioned why Phoenix and Penta were alongside Pac and not him. I didn't. Okay, how do I word this without sounding bad? Okay. I didn't like the amount of Spanish lines cut in this promo. Only because this is an English wrestling show, and I'd like to hear what they have to say. So, with that being said, Chavo's great. Pac is great for those guys. The audience, to me, they seem kind of clueless what was going on. I'm trying to think of how I can word this. Okay. It seemed like the crowd kind of got a little out of it, the amount of Spanish being spoke here. But I like how they do it with Penta. I will say he is a mouthpiece, but he says his Spanish lines. Alex Abrahantes, or however you say his last name, translates it, and that's how we grow to learn and understand Pac's gimmick. But I don't like half of the segment being in Spanish. Do you feel that same way?
Yeah, I feel like you have Spanish in it. Make it more English and just throw in a couple of Spanish words in like the sentence. You know what I mean? Almost like say what you're gonna say in English, then say it in Spanish after. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, it wasn't. I mean, it makes sense though. It makes sense though for the way it was and who was talking to each other. So I mean, it makes sense. So I'm really not that upset with it. I mean, I think it was fine.
Right. But I think the overall tone of this segment was, man, this is a good preview of what's to come with these four guys. Imagine the amount of good matches Andrade can have with these three guys. The combination.
Oh my gosh, Pac is huge, by the way.
Yeah, Pac is great. Pac and Andrade, I see them doing it all out. I see Phoenix and Penta facing Andrade one day. But how do you see this whole situation playing out with the Death Triangle and Andrade, Brandon?
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be like a series type of matches thing.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I feel like yeah, I was one of those saying last night that I love them to do it like on a TV taping. But when you think about how they're presenting Andrade and how they're building him up and the way he's presented on TV, you kind of want to almost kind of like save his next match for All Out,
Yeah.
and then have it be like a barn burner.
Got to make it
So
feel
yeah, I think
big.
they
5 stars.
yeah
Yeah.
I think they do pack in Andrade at All Out.
Yeah. I definitely see that. I'm excited to see if Phoenix and Penta turn on Pac and form a faction
That'd
with
be interesting.
Andrade, the Latin
I
faction.
wouldn't be shocked. I
Um,
wouldn't be shocked at all.
I'd like to see them introduce trios titles. I feel like the amount of tag teams you have in this division, the amount of factions you can have, that a trios division would be great because you got the Dark Order, you
Yep.
got the Jurassic Express, you
Yep.
got the Hardy Family Office. You can do Private
Yep.
Party and Matt Hardy. You got a Death Triangle who I see actually becoming Andrade and the Lucha Bros. You can have the Elite once they lose their titles. You can have that's 4 or 5 teams right there. You can have the Best Friends in Orange Cassidy. You can have there's more that I can't think of because there's so many. Um, yeah,
But yeah, there's
I can't think of
it, it,
any.
it would be great for them to have a trios division.
A trios division would be great. That amount of tag teams, that amount of talent would be great for AEW's trios division. And I think if you're looking at the first champions, I think Andrade, Phoenix, and Penta would be a great choice. So you can focus on packing the singles division. Up next, we had Christian alongside Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus of the Jurassic Express.
Another match I'm
Challenging.
looking forward to next week.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. The amount of talent in this match is great. They challenged Private Party, who I'm a huge fan of. I love Private Party.
I love Private Party.
And Helico, who I haven't seen much of. I know he's really good, though. So I'm looking forward to the 6-man tag team match. I think it'll be fun. I've never seen Christian live, so I'm very excited for that. This is my first time seeing him live. I'm a huge Jungle Boy fan.
It's my first time seeing a lot of these guys live.
Yeah.
Because one, I've always liked AEW, but I think it's safe to say I'm an actual like fan now.
Yeah.
So a lot of you guys I'm seeing for the first time. I think everybody I'm seeing for the first time. Oh, not Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows. I saw them before.
Yeah.
But
when we went to Clash of Champions, they also came out with AJ. So
P1.
I'm a big Jungle Boy fan. I feel like he is a future world champ. And before Luchasaurus was Luchasaurus, he was on a reality TV show called Big Brother, where they stay in a house and live there for the summer and try to win $500,000. And that's why I learned.
I did not know that.
Before he was even in AEW, I knew who he was. So I'm a big Austin Madelson fan. That's who's behind the Luchasaurus mask. So I'm very excited to see him. And the other team, I love Private Party. Their entrance, their in-ring work, their finisher is all great. And I'm kind of excited to see how Angelico performs. Obviously, he's a good wrestler, but I haven't seen much of him on TV to form an opinion. So maybe next week when we come back here, I'll be able to tell you how I feel about Angelico. But, voice crack. But for now, that was a good challenge right there. That's how you do challenges. That's how you build towards weekly episodic TV. You get the guys backstage, you have them talk a little smack, and you lay down the challenge, and you make the match official. You don't just bring up these random matches. So I like that segment. And we had another backstage segment. QT Marshall and the Factory were backstage. I do not like QT Marshall. The Factory just isn't interesting to me, to be honest. I have no real interest in any of these guys except for Anthony Ogogo, who has been off TV. Do you feel the same way about the Factory and QT Marshall?
Yeah. So the first time I saw QT Marshall was in his match with Cody, which he did not look good in.
No.
They made him look bad. So yeah, I don't really know how to feel about QT Marshall. I don't.
Yeah, he's not good. So I don't really care about this segment next week. It's going to be something that I kind of take some time to check up what Twitter is saying about the show on social media on my phone.
This
So
if this is like a well decent sized segment next week, and probably gonna take the time to go get food.
yeah, because it's the Bojangles Coliseum, and if you're not from the South, you don't know what Bojangles is. But Bojangles is really good, so that'll be my Bojangles
Great.
break right there. I don't care about this segment, so that'll be our Bojangles break. But basically, he announced that next week they're gonna go to the ring and apologize to Tony Schiavone for dumping something on his head. I wasn't able to catch that episode of AEW Dynamite when it was live, and I skipped over because I saw QT Marshall. So I don't know exactly what they poured on his head, but they're gonna apologize next week. So yeah, but I don't care
Next,
about
though,
this.
one of my favorites in AEW.
Oh yeah, next we had Orange Cassidy for the second time we saw him
Squeeze
versus the Blade. Now when the Blade comes on TV, Allie's there with him, and I'm a big Allie fan, the bunny. So you know, the more bunny, the better. This is a fun match. This is probably one of the Blade's better matches. A lot of people are saying it's his best. Brandon, before we really get into the results of the match, what do you think of the Blade without the Butcher?
He this dude. He gave me very heavy Eric Young vibes. I really thought it was Eric Young the first time I saw it. They look identical. So I had to look at my TV place. I was like, wait a minute, but I was like, nah. But anyways, from the recaps they showed,
it was a fun match.
It was a very fun match.
My mic just kind of cut out there. I'm sorry. I didn't like the kick out of the tombstone.
Yeah.
I didn't at all really like that. You know, there's some moves in wrestling that should not be kicked out of, and I think the tombstone is one of them.
Yeah.
So
I feel like when you do a
that
move
part
like
of the match
that,
I didn't like, but this match was fun overall. Orange Cassidy got a win. The crowd loves Orange Cassidy. That the bunny tried to get involved a bit, you know. I personally think that the Blade without the Butcher is a little bit better than the Butcher and the Blade as a tag team, because you know when you're putting a guy like this in the ring, he gives me heavy Eric Young vibes. So if you're putting him in the ring with a guy like Orange Cassidy, a guy who can produce a good match, you know, it's better for everybody. It gets the Blade more exposure. It gives Orange Cassidy someone to, you know, put over without losing, and it's better for everybody. So this is a fun match, like I keep saying. Orange Cassidy wins, and up next we have Chris Jericho backstage with Alex Marvez.
This was cool to see.
Ahead of his whole match with Nick Gage next week, the no DQ match at Fight for the Fallen, we had Chris Jericho backstage. He was turned around. I'm going to try to paint a picture. I don't know how it's going to be, but he was turned around facing the locker, and Marvez was facing the camera, so they were facing opposite directions. Marvez asked him a question about the match.
Yeah.
And he held the microphone out. Chris Jericho spoke. He got to a point where he said what he needed to say, and then he turned around and he revealed that he'd be bringing the Painmaker gimmick back for next week's match. Which the Painmaker, if you don't know, a lot of people watching this podcast probably know what the Painmaker is, but it is the gimmick that he used back in, I believe, Japan.
Yeah.
It's one of his In my eyes, I like the gimmick, so I think it's one of his better gimmicks. It's the really ruthless side of him. I'm excited to see it next week. This is my first time seeing Chris Jericho live with any other gimmick besides the the one where he had the list. I don't know what you would call that gimmick, but I'm excited to see Chris Jericho. I think the match against Nick Gage will be
Yeah.
good. The second
Y2J
labor of
list.
Jericho. And yeah, so when you're looking at Chris Jericho's gimmicks, I think the Painmaker is definitely one that was needed for this match. You want it to feel very important. So, Brandon, how do you feel about this match? I kind of rambled there, but how do you feel about the match now that we know the Painmaker is going to be involved?
You can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'm really excited to see this Painmaker gimmick. Last time I saw Chris Jericho, it was at a Raw live event, and he was the list guy. Definitely not the same Chris Jericho since then.
No.
He's changed a lot.
Completely different.
Completely different. He's this is the most over Jericho's been with the fans since I don't know when.
I
Yeah,
think when he
but this
first showed up
AEW
in
run is
AEW.
great. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, I'm really excited to see. Obviously the Painmaker gimmick makes sense since he's facing a human being, Rottweiler, next week.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be a bloodbath. It's gonna be interesting to see.
Right. An interesting thing to note here is that the bat that Chris Jericho uses, that he used when he was a heel, I think we see it
Yeah,
return. So I'm excited to
that
see
makes
that.
a whole bunch of sense.
But up next, ahead of the main event, we got a promo package between Cody Rhodes and Malachi Black, basically highlighting their feud.
Oh my gosh!
I can't wait for this match. There's only one right outcome. I will be raging uncontrollably in 2 weeks.
I will be livid if Rhodes puts himself over Black, bro.
I will be
I will be
raging
so livid.
uncontrollably on this podcast if Cody Rhodes wins. The only right decision here
That's
is...
obviously going to be the main event of that show, and that needs to be a great match. But in the end, he needs to freaking pick the taste out of Cody's mouth and pin him 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, Malachi Black's the only way. Malachi Black winning is the only way this match is enjoyable for me. I'm kind of tired of Cody putting himself over. It's not needed. I don't care about the factory, so I don't care about him putting himself over against them. But yeah, if you're thinking about it from a future star standpoint, he really should have put the factory over. But I don't care much about them. But I do care about Black. And if Black loses, I will be very, 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 very mad. So I'm looking forward to it, though.
Earlier when you mentioned Darby Allin and what he could do in future, I died for a Malachi Black versus Darby Allin feud.
Yeah, interesting thing to note. I could see a Darby Allin and Malachi Black match going in all out. I don't know if they save it, but I could definitely see them doing it.
Yeah, it's like you have to.
Yeah. So now we get into our main event: Jon Moxley versus Lance Archer in a Texas Death Match for the IWGP United States Championship. But before we get into the match, Hikuleo, who is related to Tama Tonga, and he's a part of the Bullet Club in New Japan, was at ringside. And it was announced that the winner of this Texas Death Match for the title would face Hikuleo next week at Fight for the Fallen. Brandon, how do you feel about Hikuleo? And this is my first time seeing him. This is your first time seeing him. So,
oh yeah. So
what do you think about him?
The picture they showed from when I saw him, I was like, "Oh, this guy's a freaking giant. That guy's tall."
Right.
And I feel like it makes even more sense for him and a Lance Archer match to happen because their size matches so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're two giants.
Yeah, two giants. So yeah, I'm really excited. Moxley. Even though I wanted to see Moxley next week, which we could still possibly see.
Right.
Moxley, he's it's Jon Moxley. Who doesn't like Jon Moxley?
Yeah. In my eyes, when I look at this Hikuleo guy, I see someone who can put a good match. You know, he's in the Bullet Club for a reason. So I see him putting on a good match with Lance Archer. As we know, Lance Archer won this match. Um,
There's also a botch in Lance's injury where he tried to throw in the kendo sticks in the ring and it didn't work.
oh yeah, he did throw the
Ah.
kendo sticks off of the ropes, and it came back and almost hit him. So if I was Lance Archer, to make it look good, I would have just caught the kendo stick. You
He
gotta,
tried to, but it was too late.
yeah, you gotta kind of try to save yourself there. He wasn't able to, but now as we get into kind of coverage of the match, the crowd was into this, man.
Yeah, you can tell they were really
Forks.
excited.
There were forks. There were kendo sticks. There were chairs. What else?
This one,
Tables.
this one match, this one match was more Extreme Rules than an entire WWE Extreme Rules pay per view.
Exactly. Like I was heavily invested in this match. I was sitting down watching it, and I was very, very, very invested into this one.
Yeah.
I think the right winner. Well, let's cover the ending. Jon Moxley had pulled out two barbed wire sheets, like sheets of barbed wire, I guess you could call them, and he placed them on the
Yeah.
two tables they had by ringside, and he tried to end the match with a paradigm shift, kind of like he did at Wrestle Kingdom when he won the title.
Yep.
But Archer countered, hit a choke slam, I believe it was,
What was
and
chokeslam?
this was the fastest 10 count I've ever seen in
It was
wrestling.
super fast. It was super fast.
Man was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, and he got it done with that. Like WWE guys, they'll spend like an hour and a half counting to 3. So
Right,
I don't
bro.
know. I think I like the slow counts a little better.
Yeah, it just builds the suspense.
I like how
But
WWE does that a little bit better because you know it's like, are they gonna get up? Are they gonna be able to do this? Most of the time they do, but if there's that one move that can put the match away, that slow 10 count really adds a bit into the feel of the match. But Lance Archer wins. Moxley was stuck to the barbed wire. That looked so painful.
yeah, bro. Moxley, very high pain tolerance.
Oh yeah, the
I
dude's a
couldn't do
beast.
it.
Um, right outcome, you would say, right?
Oh yeah. And then the face off between Lance Archer
In
and the
Hikuleo.
guy and Nick Hill. Amazing. I liked it. I really liked it. It was a great way to end off the show.
Yeah. This one was great. That was a great Texas Death Match. They did it 100% right. And I'm excited for the Hikuleo and Lance Archer match next week. I assume you are too?
Oh yeah. So I'm excited to see what he can do in the
Yeah.
ring.
I've never seen him wrestle before. I mean, obviously he's good because he's in the Bullet Club. I'd assume they don't keep scrubs around there, but it's going to be a good one. I'm excited to see that. And the face off at the end, you know, when they showed this guy sitting down, he did not look as big as he is.
No.
I think the way the camera is, I don't know if he's actually taller than him, but the way they sure did make him look like it with the way they had the camera angled.
Oh yeah, he's definitely taller than Lance Archer. Then he came like right up to him, and
Yeah.
yeah, he definitely has a height advantage.
So that's going to be a match between two giants. I'm interested. You know, I don't want to speculate because I don't know if they're going to open the door this much, but could we see Tama Tonga next week? Hakuleo's brother, I believe.
It's a possibility. It's a major possibility.
Because we know that he's been talking about coming to AEW, and with what I think is going to happen in Impact Wrestling between the Bullet Club and the Elite,
Hmm.
I could see Tama Tonga and Hikuleo representing the Bullet Club for Impact, and they get him to the United States through AEW. So I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't want to assume it is and get my hopes up, but Tama Tonga's a kind of like he's a strange dude. He teases things a lot. And I
Yeah.
don't know, honestly, what to expect with it, but I'm excited. That closed the show. This was a very good episode of Dynamite. The stories were told very well throughout the matches, the segments. The down point of the show is obviously um, the Britt and Nyla match. You know,
Yeah.
the clash of
I feel
styles.
like I feel like out of all the three shows from the past few weeks of the guy, I feel like this one was the least You know, um, it was really good, but
Yeah.
it's definitely like the lowest. It's definitely like the lowest ranked out of the the three.
I missed Fighter
And
Fest
out of
Night
the
1, so I can't, say that. But,
yeah, Fighter Fest Night One was really good.
yeah.
It was really good. I don't know which one I like better, bro, because with Black making his debut, yeah, it's really hard to see. I don't know which one's better, but I definitely know that next week is gonna be something just can't
I
miss.
feel like next week's going to be the best out of all 4 shows.
Yeah, it's gonna have the most wrestling on it.
Yeah. And that the QT segment I'm not looking forward to, but it's whatever. But I am looking forward to the celebration as well with Ricky Starks. So,
Hmm.
um, that's your Dynamite review portion of the show. So now we're gonna get into our Fight for the Fallen prediction since we're gonna be there. Um, starting off, we'll start off with the Nick Gage and Chris Jericho match. Um, how do you see that one playing out, Brandon?
Jeez, bro, you know what? I feel like for most of the match, I feel like Jericho is definitely gonna get some crazy stuff in, but something tells me that Nick Gage is really gonna have the upper hand for most part of the match, and it's gonna be very one sided.
Yeah.
But I feel like towards the end, some way that Painmaker kicks in and Jericho finds some way to win. So I have Jericho winning next week.
As do I. I don't see Jericho losing until he gets to MJF. I do think MJF's gonna win, but these 5 labors of Jericho is just a good way to build up to the story.
Oh
And
yeah.
I 100% see Jericho winning, but Nick Gage is gonna put on a show. Jericho's gonna put on a show. It's gonna be a fun match, and I'm looking forward to it. We'll move into the 6-man tag team match between Private Party and Angelico against the Jurassic Express and Christian. I know I have my theory prediction of what's going to happen after the match. But who do you think is going to win this, and what do you think happens in this match?
So I've seen a lot of people speculating about what's going to happen next week with this match.
Right.
Um, and from what I've been watching from the past couple weeks, I can definitely see it happening too. So as far as who wins, I'm gonna I'm gonna go with Jungle Express and Christian winning, and then after that, I'm gonna see Christian turn
Yeah.
just to throw a curveball at us. Um, yeah, that's what I think's happening.
Yeah. I definitely see Christian turning on Jungle Boy here, leading into a match at All Out. But I'm not sure who I think is going to win. I could see
Yeah,
I could see
I
Matt
said
Hardy
Jungle
grabbing the win for
Express.
Private Party as well.
Yeah, I mean, both ways you look at it, it could be really cool because Christian could just be like fed up and just turn, or then they
Yeah.
could just win, and then Christian can just throw a curveball and just be like, you
Yeah.
know, yeah,
I definitely see that, but I'm looking forward to that. You know, it'll be a good 6-man tag match. Next we have the celebration of Ricky Starks. I definitely think we see some Brian Cage um, interaction here. Do you think it leads to a second match at All Out?
yeah,
Yeah, I see them going that way. Um, we also have Haikuleo versus Lance Archer. Um, it's Lance Archer's first defense, so I definitely see Lance winning. I
for
think
sure.
I think that's the only way to
But I
go.
feel like
Go ahead.
Haikuleo's he's gonna have a good showing though.
Yeah, I definitely think he will have a good showing in this one. He looks like a monster, so hopefully it'll be a clash of 2 big men that we'll remember uh, for quite a while. We have FTR versus the Revival, or FTR versus the Revival. FTR FTR versus Santana and Ortiz in this one. I'm looking forward to this one a lot.
Oh my gosh.
This one,
Who?
I think Santana and Ortiz win because like I said earlier in the show, I feel like they're going to be the next AEW tag champs. Do you feel the same way?
I do. Right. This is. You know what? I'm not even gonna say right under. I feel like the 5-on-5 elimination in this match are like right neck and neck to each other. I don't know which one I'm looking forward to the most.
Right. We have Tony Khan's announcement of a new live event.
That should be cool.
I see.
Get
I
to
don't
see
know what to make of
TK
this.
live.
Yeah. What do you think he's gonna announce here? Because I'm still a little bit.
A new event. If Tony's coming out that to talk about it and hype it up, I mean, maybe it's some type of I don't know. Maybe it's like a really big show.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be some live event. That takes place in a place they've never been to before. Um, Sorry, I sound a little bit sidetracked. It just got announced that Walter and Ilya Dragunov is going to take place at Takeover 36.
Holy! Oh my gosh! What?
Yeah, they just announced that Walter and Ilya
God.
Dragunov are going to.
Oh my gosh, bro. That's gonna be the match of the night. I'm sorry. That's it. I don't care what other matches you announce for NXT Takeover. That's gonna be the match of the night.
And an interesting note here before we get back into the AEW review. The only two NXT UK title changes occurred at Takeover. So.
And a Takeover. Brody, bro.
All right.
Oh, that just got me. That just got me hyped.
Yeah. But anyway, back to the review. We have what I think will be the main event. I don't know how you feel, but the 5-on-5 between the Dark Order and Adam Page
For sure.
and the Super Elite, I guess you can call them.
For sure.
So there's an interesting dynamic with this because you have on one hand the ability to put off Page's title shot and kind of build the story of redemption even more, or you can do it now and give him the rub here and give him the title now. Brandon, how do you see this playing out?
This match right here, yeah, I feel like Hangman, Adam Page, and Dark Order are gonna get the win.
Yeah.
Give them their matches at All Out. I don't know. I definitely feel like I don't know. I always love these type of dynamic of matches because there's always some type of like last man standing. Odds are against him, and then he comes back and wins the whole thing.
Yeah.
I feel like they're definitely gonna try to do that with Page next week, and that's gonna just put him over even more.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that match. I feel like I'm saying that about every match. This show is stacked.
It really is.
I feel like they are going to give the rub to Page in the Dark Order here. I don't know how they do it. I feel like you should have Page pin one of the Bucks so that not only can Page earn his shot, but he can also earn the Dark Order a title shot. So you can strengthen that relationship. Do you would you agree with my analogy here?
Yeah, because I don't think Kenny should. Yeah, I don't think he should lose on TV.
Kenny should not be pinned.
No, he should not be pinned. No championship already pinned on TV. So yeah, I definitely agree with that.
All right, so that's the match portion of the review. We're gonna get out of here in a couple of minutes. But before we go, another special thanks to Jake for the layout, the viewers for supporting our show. Make sure to drop a like and comment on this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Turn your post notifications on so you know every time we post a new video. And make sure to check out the Raw and NXT review from yesterday and Tuesday. Nothing tomorrow. We will be back Saturday for the SmackDown review and Sunday for Breaking the Wall. next week, like I said, we'll be going to the show, so expect a review the day after. And I don't know when the vlog will go up because I don't know how long it's going to take to edit, but expect that.
Hopefully not that long.
Yeah, hopefully not that long so we can get it up, but expect that in the next week. And we will see you guys Saturday for the SmackDown review show. So thank you guys for joining us today. Like I said, make sure to like and drop a comment. What are your predictions for Fight for the Fallen? That's today's question. What do you think will go down? Any surprises? Any big moments? There will obviously be big moments, but what do you think they will be? Drop that down in the comments. For Brandon,
Yes.
I'm Will. This is your AEW review from July 21st, 2021. We'll see you Saturday for SmackDown.
Peace, guys.